Some family secrets are buried because they're embarrassing. Others are buried because they protect the people we love. But the secret I'm about to share, I've carried it for over 15 years. And even today, only one other person knows the truth. It all started during one unforgettable summer vacation. Every year, my parents would send me to my Aunt Sarah's countryside home. It was peaceful, quiet, the kind of place where everyone knew everyone. Life moved slowly there. As a teenager, I thought it was boring. I had no idea that one strange night would change my opinion forever. Around 2 in the morning, I woke to the sound of footsteps outside my bedroom. At first, I ignored them. Then I heard a door creak open. Curious, I looked through the hallway. My aunt, still wearing her nightgown, quietly stepped outside into the backyard. She wasn't sleepwalking. She looked nervous, almost frightened. She kept looking over her shoulder as if someone might be watching. I knew I shouldn't follow her, but curiosity won. Keeping my distance, I watched as she walked toward the old wooden barn that had been locked for as long as I could remember. And she pulled a key from her pocket. The old door slowly opened, and before disappearing inside, she whispered just 4 words. "I hope it's still here." I had no idea what she meant, but I was about to discover a family secret that had remained hidden for decades. And once I learned the truth, I understood why no one ever spoke about that barn again. The moment my aunt disappeared into the barn, every instinct told me to go back inside. But curiosity has a strange way of overpowering common sense. I waited until the barn door closed. Then, keeping my footsteps as quiet as possible, I crossed the damp grass. The old wooden building looked even older up close. The paint had peeled away years ago. The windows were covered with dust. Vines had wrapped themselves around the walls as if nature itself wanted to keep whatever was inside hidden forever. I carefully looked through a small crack in one of the wooden boards. At first, I couldn't see much, only the faint glow of a lantern. Then I spotted my aunt. She wasn't searching through boxes like I expected. She was standing completely still, looking at an old wooden chest sitting in the middle of the room. After a few seconds, she slowly knelt beside it. She reached into her pocket and removed a small brass key. Her hands were trembling. The lock clicked. She lifted the lid. I leaned closer, trying to see what was inside. Gold? Old photographs? Money? Instead, she pulled out a faded leather journal tied together with a blue ribbon. She gently brushed the dust from its cover. Then she whispered something so quietly I almost missed it. "I'm sorry. I wasn't ready." Suddenly, a floorboard beneath my feet creaked. The sound echoed through the silent night. Inside the barn, my aunt froze. Slowly, she turned toward the door. My heart began pounding. "Who's there?" she called. I held my breath. Maybe she hadn't seen me. The silence felt endless. Then I heard footsteps moving toward the entrance. Closer, closer. The door swung open. Our eyes met. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. She didn't look angry. She looked disappointed. "I knew someone was following me," she said softly. I lowered my head. "I'm sorry," she sighed. "I've kept this secret for 25 years. She looked back at the journal in her hands. "Maybe it's finally time someone else knew the truth." She stepped aside. "Come in." As I entered the barn, I noticed dozens of old family photographs hanging on one wall. Many of the faces were familiar, but one photograph immediately caught my attention. It showed my grandparents, my aunt, and standing beside them, a young man I had never seen before. His face had been carefully cut out of every copy of the picture. I pointed toward the empty space. Who was he? My aunt stared at the photograph for several seconds. Then tears slowly filled her eyes. The person everyone decided to forget. She opened the journal. Inside the first page was a handwritten sentence. "If you're reading this, the truth has finally found you." I felt a chill run down my spine. Who had written those words? And why had my entire family hidden this story for so many years? For a long moment, neither of us spoke. The old journal rested between us on the wooden table. Its pages had turned yellow with age. The edges were worn, as though countless hands had opened it before, and then hidden it away again. My aunt slowly turned to the first page. "This journal belonged to my older brother," she said quietly. I frowned. My older brother? Mom never told me she had another brother. She nodded. "That's because no one was supposed to." A chill ran down my spine. She took a deep breath before continuing. "His name was Michael." I searched my memory. Family gatherings, old photo albums, holiday dinners. I had never once heard that name, not even by accident. "Why did everyone erase him?" I asked. She looked out the dusty window before answering. "Because one terrible night changed everything." The room fell silent again. She carefully unfolded a newspaper clipping tucked inside the journal. The headline was faded but still readable. "Local teen missing after storm." My heart skipped a beat. "He disappeared?" I asked. She slowly shook her head. "That's what everyone believed. But the truth was far more complicated." She handed me another photograph. This one hadn't been damaged. It showed a smiling teenage boy standing beside the same old barn. On the back, someone had written in neat handwriting, "No matter what happens, the truth always finds its way home." I looked up. "Who wrote this?" "Michael." She closed her eyes. The day before he vanished. Outside, thunder rumbled in the distance. The rain had started again. It felt as if the weather itself was echoing the story. My aunt opened the journal to the first full entry. Michael described life on the family farm. He wrote about helping his father, playing with his younger sisters, dreaming of leaving the small town one day to become an engineer. He sounded hopeful, happy, completely different from the mysterious figure I'd imagined. Then the handwriting suddenly changed. The words became rushed, uneven, as though they had been written in fear. "Someone is lying. If anything happens to me, don't believe the story they tell." I looked up in disbelief. "What story?" My aunt's face turned pale. "The story our family repeated for 25 years. She reached into the wooden chest one last time. Beneath the journal was a small metal box wrapped in cloth. Inside it was an old cassette tape. Across the label, written in black ink, were 5 simple words. "Play this only after midnight." My aunt looked at me with trembling hands. I've never had the courage to listen to it. I stared at the tape. If it contained Michael's voice, then the answers we'd been searching for might finally be within reach. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that once we pressed play, there would be no turning back. The cassette player had been sitting on a dusty shelf for years. My aunt wiped away the dust with the sleeve of her sweater. "I don't even know if it still works," she whispered. She inserted the tape. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the machine clicked. A loud hiss filled the room. Static. Crackling. I looked at my aunt. She looked terrified. Suddenly, a young man's voice broke through the noise. "If you're hearing this..." I guess I never got the chance to explain. My aunt covered her mouth. Tears immediately filled her eyes. "That's him," she whispered. "That's Michael." The recording continued. "I don't know who will find this tape, but I hope it's someone who still believes the truth matters." There was a long pause. Then he spoke again. "People are going to say I ran away. They're going to say I abandoned the family, but that's not what happened." My heart started racing. "What does he mean?" I asked. My aunt slowly shook her head. I don't know." The tape crackled again. "I discovered something hidden in this barn. Something that could destroy lives if the wrong people find it. I tried telling Dad, but he begged me to stay quiet." Another pause. Then, a loud bang echoed through the recording. Michael's breathing became heavy. "They're here. If I don't make it back, tell my sisters I never stopped loving them." The recording ended with footsteps. A door slamming. Then complete silence. The cassette clicked. It had reached the end. Neither of us spoke. The only sound was the rain hitting the roof. Finally, my aunt whispered, "He didn't leave us. He was trying to protect us." She looked toward the old wooden chest. "If Michael was hiding something, it has to be somewhere in this barn." We searched every shelf, every drawer, every dusty corner. Hours passed. Just as we were about to give up, I noticed something unusual. One of the wooden floorboards didn't match the others. It looked newer. I knelt down and carefully pressed on it.
It moved.
My aunt gasped. Together, we lifted the loose board. Beneath it was a small tin box wrapped in faded cloth. Inside was a sealed envelope. Across the front, in the same familiar handwriting, were the words, "To whoever still believes me." My hands trembled as I reached for the envelope. I had a feeling that whatever was inside would finally reveal why someone had wanted Michael's story forgotten. But neither of us was prepared for the truth waiting inside. For several seconds, neither of us moved. The envelope lay in my hands, yellowed with age, but perfectly sealed. My aunt stared at it, as though she had seen a ghost. "Open it," she whispered. I carefully broke the brittle seal. Inside was a folded letter and a small silver key tied to it with a faded blue ribbon. The letter began, "If you've found this, it means the truth has survived longer than I expected." I swallowed hard and continued reading. "I know people will blame me for what happened. Some will believe I disappeared because I wanted to escape. Others will think I betrayed the family. Neither is true. Years ago, while helping repair the barn, I found documents hidden beneath the floorboards. They proved that our grandfather had secretly purchased this land to protect several neighboring families during difficult times. If those papers fell into the wrong hands, many people could lose everything." I confronted Father. He told me that powerful people wanted those documents destroyed. He begged me to keep quiet until it was safe. I agreed, but someone discovered that I knew the truth. I looked up. "This isn't what I expected." My aunt slowly nodded. "Neither did I." I continued reading. "If I cannot return, don't spend your lives searching for me. Instead, protect the truth. One day someone honest will find this letter. When that day comes, unlock the old desk in the farmhouse attic. Everything you need is waiting there." I held up the tiny silver key. This must be the key. My aunt's eyes widened. "The attic." She suddenly stood. "I haven't been up there in over 20 years. Without another word, we left the barn and hurried back toward the house. The rain had finally stopped. Clouds drifted apart, revealing a bright full moon. The farmhouse creaked as we climbed the narrow staircase. The attic door was exactly as my aunt remembered. Old furniture stood beneath white sheets. Boxes filled with family photographs lined the walls. In the far corner sat an antique wooden desk covered in dust. Its lock matched the silver key perfectly. I slowly inserted the key. It turned with a soft click. The top drawer opened. Inside was a thick leather folder. On top rested another handwritten note. Only 6 words were written across the front. "The truth belongs to everyone now." My aunt closed her eyes. "I've waited half my life for this moment." She reached for the folder, but before she could open it, we heard footsteps downstairs. Heavy,
Slow.
deliberate. Someone else was inside the house. My aunt's face turned pale. She whispered only one sentence. "They've found us." The footsteps stopped directly beneath the attic door. Then, 3 slow knocks echoed through the silent house. Knock, knock, knock. Neither of us dared to breathe. The 3 knocks echoed through the old farmhouse. Neither of us moved. The folder remained open on the desk, but neither of us dared look inside. Another knock came, louder this time. My aunt grabbed my arm. "Stay behind me," she whispered. My heart pounded so hard I was sure whoever was downstairs could hear it. Slowly, we stepped toward the attic door. The house had gone completely silent. No footsteps. No voices. Just the sound of the old wooden floor creaking beneath our feet. My aunt carefully opened the attic door. The hallway was empty. We exchanged nervous glances. "Maybe they left," I whispered. She didn't answer. Instead, she walked toward the staircase. Each step groaned beneath our weight. When we reached the living room, the front door was slightly open. Cold night air drifted inside. Someone had definitely been there, but they were gone. Then I noticed something on the floor. A small brown envelope. No stamp. No address. Only one handwritten message. "You're closer than you think." I handed it to my aunt. Her hands trembled as she unfolded the note inside. It contained only a single sentence. Look behind the grandfather clock. Without saying a word, we turned toward the large antique clock that had stood in the corner of the living room for as long as anyone could remember. As children, we had been told never to touch it. We always assumed it was too fragile. Now I wondered if there had been another reason. Together, we carefully pulled the heavy clock away from the wall. Hidden behind it was a narrow wooden panel. My aunt gasped. I've lived here for 40 years. I never knew this existed. I pressed against the panel. It slid open with surprising ease. Behind it was a tiny compartment. Inside rested an old metal box. Unlike everything else we'd found, this box looked untouched by time. It was perfectly clean, almost as if someone had placed it there recently. My aunt slowly opened the lid. Inside were 3 items: a modern flash drive, an old black and white photograph of Michael smiling beside a man none of us recognize, a folded note written in fresh ink.
Fresh.
Not faded, not yellowed.
Fresh.
With shaking hands, I unfolded the note. It read, "If you're reading this, then you've followed the trail exactly as Michael hoped. The story you've been told is incomplete. Someone has been protecting the rest of the truth all these years. Meet me tomorrow at sunrise by the old oak tree. Come alone." No name, no signature, just one small symbol at the bottom, a compass with a star in the center. I looked at my aunt. Who could have written this? She stared at the symbol for a long time. Then she whispered words that made my blood run cold. I've seen that symbol before. It was on the ring Michael always wore. If that was true, then one impossible question remained. Who had been leaving these clues for all these years? And, more importantly, who was waiting for us at sunrise?